Incoming transmission. Oh no.
Welcome to TennoTalk. I'm your host, Rebecca, and with me today is my co host, Jeremy.
Hi.
We have an awesome episode planned for you today. We've got the DevStream 110 to look at, the TennoTunes contest, Volume 3, which is really awesome, and we're going to look into the theory of mainframes versus the frame for each mission type. I know that's kind of been like a discussion that's been going on in our house and also I've seen it up on Reddit a couple times. So we're going to take a look at that and see like what we think and hopefully get some feedback on what you guys think. But first, it has been a very filled week of playing Warframe for us. So what have you been working on, Jeremy?
Um, so I finally, after a whole single evening, I think I counted up to 26 runs of grinding to get Equinox's parts, and then a whole day of waiting for her parts to finish, and then 72 hours of waiting for the two frames to finish, and then another 72 hours of waiting for the real frame to finish, and wasting a whole day because I forgot to actually buy her blueprint from the market. I finally got Equinox and I went to Helene on Saturn, like everybody does, and I got her to rank 30, and I still have no idea what I'm doing with her. So uh, she seems fun, and several times I got the most kills on the map. So I guess I'm doing something right, but but I have no idea what that means. So there was some learning there, but most of that learning was actually it was actually stifled by revisiting Valkyr this week and sort of falling in love with the Danger Kitty all over again. So I, I know we're going to touch on this later, but she is definitely in the running for being like my main go-to frame for almost every content.
You think you've narrowed it down to her?
I think so. Yes, Saren
Nice.
and the walking STD woman is definitely uh, the other side of the coin. I've got one that's like all melee attacks and is just really hard to kill, and then the other one that's like basically the caster that I've always wanted to play. So between
It's
the two
fair.
of them, can pretty much handle everything, and that's sort of been where I'm coming from there.
Yeah, and I know it was actually a really interesting week. Earlier, right before the weekend, we both got Cora, and so
Yeah,
we've been playing her a little bit. I don't think we're to the point where we have a really good opinion on her. I think I need to finish getting her to 30, and I know Jeremy has, but we've been slogging through it. She's really interesting, and we're in a later episode we're gonna dive down into Cora because I know she is like a very highly talked about character right now in Warframe. So we're definitely gonna take a little bit more. I just think both of us need a little bit more time to play her before we do that. But I will say the hysterics, her pistol, holy crap, that thing is amazing. It's one of the first weapons that I actually like instantly immediately wanted to potato. So I love that
yeah,
thing.
yeah. I love the poison darts. Like I use the electricity ones for popping shields and stuff occasionally, but to be honest, those poison darts, oh, they're so good.
Oh, it's so nice seeing their health tick down with poison. I'm not gonna lie.
And it shoots really fast. That's definitely like I like the rate of fire, and I don't know, just the gun just feels good to use, especially when you're down. Because I am terrible at this game, so I'm down a lot. That's why I play Valkyr now. But when you're down, you can just like hold it on a guy, and those poison procs start going off real quick, and you're like, oh yeah, this feels good. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I love it. Yeah. At least for me, I know I've been actually working on a lot of the quests. The quests are really cool. If you guys haven't done the quests, definitely you need to start doing them. They have a lot of like really cool, interesting lore like implications. And I know the biggest one that I've been working on, and I know I was lucky enough to have Jeremy help me through it because it was kind of hard. Was the Silver Goat quest, which is for Titania, and it definitely gives a lot of information on the lore of Earth and kind of what happened to it a little bit in the past. And I thought that was really interesting. They handled the delivery of it really well. I liked how you were kind of getting those transmissions back and forth. Like, I don't know, the whole thing was really nice. What did you think about it?
I have to honestly, I have to give a major shout out to the voice actors because I did not expect And maybe this is my bias coming from like subscription games. I did not expect a free to play game to have voice acting that is tolerable, let alone like actually good. Uh, slight. Well, I can kind of do this without spoilers, but if you haven't played Titania's Quest, you should go do it because it's pretty fun. But when the new Loka, the third time you go to Earth after you do the sunlight draw or the sunrise draw, after you do that one, and she sort of has this change of heart and decides to help you out. Spoilers. The voice acting in that moment, I was like, oh man, this is like this is good. Like you could kind of feel that emotion, and that's rare in MMOs anyway. But then to hear it in like a free to play game like this, it was really cool. I just really appreciated that. Like
It was a very small detail, but it definitely like held a lot of impact. It was really cool. I liked it. Um,
I put on my new Locust sigil as soon as we finished that quest, and all of my friends have been wearing it since then. So
little fanboy over there.
little bit,
It's okay. I'm still rocking the parent sequence. Geometry signs are, I love them. Other than that, Octavia's quest, man, oof. I already have Octavia. I'm just doing the quest because I want the story, and I have never been so frustrated with that quest. Those Sentinels are the worst.
yeah.
Ugh.
I played it in cheat mode. I had the Tigris Prime, um, and I mean that just it does so much damage. It's just such a solid weapon, which we'll get to in weapons in another episode. But it it just wrecked those Sentinels. So, and then we found out that you it's a solo quest, so I can't even help you out.
Yeah, and that kind of sucks because I've tried it on Mirage, I tried it on Octavia, I've tried it on Frost. So if anybody out there has any tips to fighting the Sentinels that's done Octavia's Anthem, please let me know. Email us in at TennoTalk at gmail.com. Just shoot those in and I will try every single one of them because I would like to finish that quest and oh, it hurts. It's so rough. It never ends. I think the only other thing exciting this week that's happened that's Warframe related is we bought TennoCon tickets,
Oh yeah, we bought TennoCon tickets.
which
We're going to
is
Canada.
which is awesome because we're not from Canada, we're from the United States. So we were holding off because we wanted to make sure we got our passport stuff taken care of, and I'm so glad we did because we bought them on a Friday, and when we got up on Saturday morning, every single ticket was sold out. So,
Yep.
whew, glad we made it.
Yeah,
Gotta love
barely.
passports. Yeah, did you do anything else fun at all?
I mean, you already touched on her, but Cora, I know we're going to discuss her in a later episode, but I do have to say, so far I have positive, mostly positive feelings towards her. So
Yeah, she's a lot of fun.
yeah.
I like it. All right. Well, let's go ahead and we're going to hop over to talk about some of the news that has come out. On last Friday, a little bit back, we had the Dev Stream 110. It didn't have too much information. It did have a lot of changes that are going to be coming to Korra and to Sanctuary Onslaught, and we'll kind of touch a little bit on those. But the biggest thing is that TennoCon 2018, if you're going, is July 7th in London, Ontario. And currently, as of this morning when I looked, it is sold out. So you snooze, you lose. I'm pretty sure they still have the digital tickets, but actual physical tickets, there are no more, which is exciting because I've never been to TennoCon, so I know it's going to be nice and big and awesome, and I'm just so excited to go.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see the cosplay. That's probably like I know there's talk that they're gonna tease Venus and they're gonna tease the sacrifice if it's not out yet, and they're gonna show off at least one prime, if not both. Limbo and Chroma are both rumored to be the next two, and all this stuff. But mostly, I just wanna see the cosplay.
I'm super excited to see everybody in cosplay. Cosplay is like seriously one of the things that's so exciting, and Warframes are so meticulous, and I'm just really excited to see what people do.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yep. So they also showed us a little bit of a teaser for the sacrifice. We did get to see some motion cap, which that is always super exciting to see, of some relaxed person leaning up against what was a pillar, which was kind of being held and mocked up by Jeff. The picture is absolutely absolutely hilarious. You have Jeff standing there, and you have the other guy just leaning on there, and you can see the mocap stuff behind him of how he's standing. So we don't know who this character is. It looks like the only thing they've said about it, it is an arrogant looking character from how he's standing. So we don't know, but it is a little bit teaser that there is might be some new characters getting introduced for this, which if you finish The War Within, I have no idea what's going to happen. I am super excited to see what's next in that whole kind of story, like the main, what I call the main story, essentially about who you are and what's going on. And we also got to see the key art for the quest, which, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend pulling up warframe.com and going and looking at that. Their art is fantastic, and this thing is so
good.
cool. And I don't know what it means, but it's got a lot of like weird lines that are pointing to an arm of a warframe, and I don't know, it looks so fantastic.
Everybody's getting so excited that there was talk about, an overarching change to everybody's Excalibur frames, and it would just amuse me greatly. Everybody's expecting that long-awaited Excalibur Umbra, and instead we're all just going to have a one-armed Excalibur. And they're like, we were telling you all along. The signs were there the whole time. You're just losing your arm. Everybody needs to calm down.
That would be really funny. I hadn't heard that yet. That's hilarious. So speaking of Venus, we do know that there is going to be a new Plains of Eidolon like on Venus, and that's coming up. They've showed us a couple teasers. We've seen some really cool stuff coming out about it, but there's still just not a lot. But they did show us a really cool video, and it was about a minute long, and it was of the civilian hub, which is
Mm.
kind of like our new, just like maybe where you get your bounties and you go to the vendors and stuff. And let me tell you, this thing is gorgeous. It literally reminds me of some weird space town, like with the billboards and the cool lights and all these random, like, stuff all around. And it was completely empty, but I'm really excited to see it with civilians. Like,
Yeah. It looked to me like something straight out of Altered Carbon or Blade Runner,
yeah.
or even uh, just because of how blocky everything was, just with the architecture style, even something like the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Total Recall, where he goes to Mars because that whole city that he's in the whole movie is all like under the surface of Mars, so it's underground, and it has this really like angular, blocky architecture with 3D screens and stuff, and it's just so 80s, and it even has this slight yellow fog. As I think it was Rebecca was playing as they were like walking through the city and everything, and just like it was just like, oh, it's an 80s sci-fi movie. I cannot wait to run through there going, get to the chopper.
Yeah, that would be really fun, especially with the idea of vehicles that are coming out with
Yeah.
Venus. And I saw later on they also showed that you are going to be able to take over the Darien aircrafts, and you might be able to like hop in them and fly them. So we could literally reenact getting in the chopper, and that would be absolutely hilarious. And I want to see a machina of it. So get to work. Let's do
So
it.
I need Rhino Prime now,
Yes, yes, you do.
uh, to be the big guy himself.
I like it. They also showed some art, which this one has me super excited, especially since you just got Equinox, Jeremy, because I'm like no holds barred. You're getting this. It is an
Mm.
alt helmet that was quote lost to the void. Essentially, the file got corrupted and it just kind of wasn't there. But the artist Ray is back and he has built another iteration of it, and this thing looks really cool. It's like almost like a
Oh.
stag helmet style of thing. Like I think you have like these huge antler things that come out of your head, and the day form and the night form are gorgeous. I really like it. It almost makes me want to like bullfight or something, like just like run with my head down and stab people.
It does look great.
I really like it. I cannot wait to see it, and especially once people get a hold of it with the coloring, it's gonna be intense.
Hmm.
So I know I alluded to at the start, there were also a lot of talk about Korra's kit changes. It was basically they've been working on some of her abilities and how they interact and stuff like that. There is a lot of information in here, just about specific about what these changes were. I'm not going to touch too much on these. I'm just going to kind of just say that they were changed, that there's changes. If you want more information, definitely go to the Warframe website and check them out and read her abilities and kind of see how that works now. And they definitely also want feedback. So definitely, if you think it's okay, if you don't think it's okay, go to the official forums and let them know because they're trying to make Korra better. And we're next week we're actually gonna probably sit down and have a nice long discussion about Korra. I'm super excited about it. So we'll have more time to kind of discuss all of that as well. They also went over Sanctuary Onslaught, which I know we've attempted it a couple times. I think we've only got to floor 8, the two of us. Is that right?
Was it 8? I thought it was 6, to
Oh,
be completely honest. I thought it was 6.
it's probably 6. I suffer from the problem I have no DPS frames, and some of my frames aren't potatoed yet, so I feel like I was severely gimping you there. But yeah, it's rough. It's fun. Now, we didn't do the Elite version, we just did the Sanctuary Onslaught. So, some of the changes and tweaks that they've been working on, and they are still making tweaks and they have more planned. You can find more information on their dev workshop, which is on their website. That's where they post a lot of their information on it. So, if you are wanting to give feedback and to see exactly what's going on with Sanctuary Onslaught, definitely check that out as well. But currently, what they've been working on is the efficiency drain. They've kind of tweaked on how it is reduced and how it kind of what the caps are for it to make it easier for players to reach certain waves. They have done enemy scaling for the elite mode, so that actually made it a little bit more challenging. It looks like they have them scaling up higher than they were before. So for those looking for something challenging, that might be something to check out. I know that they're also currently working on the enemy spawning, which I know I've seen. It's on those bigger tiles. It's really like they're really far out, and that efficiency drain was just going too fast. You couldn't kill them, or they would get stuck. So they are looking at that through the variety of tiles and trying to figure out what it is. And they've also increased the focus cap, which I know a bunch of people that are there focus grinding are going to love. Now, I just got into focus grinding, so that is something that I'm trying to learn. So I'm definitely excited to see that cap increase. And I know Jeremy's been focus grinding for a couple of different focus schools too, right?
Yeah, I switched from Narmon to Zeneric because I switched to frames that are a little more energy hungry. So the energy regen from Zeneric is helping me out a lot more, hopefully.
Yeah, so if you're wanting to grind focus, definitely check those out. It looks like they're trying to bump it up and make it a little bit more focus rewarding too. Some of the funner stuff, like, well, not funner, but like the more funny things that they showed was their peculiar mods. And if you haven't seen those yet, they're really fun mods that you can kind of put in once you've got everything modded and you have extra drain. These are meant to just kind of show off and be funny. They've had a couple like Looney Tune style ones, like the stars, the coyote stars going around your head, and there's the flower one on Crit Hit, which is my favorite, and I really want to get it. But Rebecca did show off another funny one that if you hit them, it enlarges that spot on them for a little bit, so you could hit someone in the thigh, and then they suddenly have a huge thigh, or a head, and then they have a huge head. Absolutely hilarious. If I see anybody in a game that has that, I will probably lose myself. I will giggle so hard, but they're so funny.
Fun thing to point out about those, though, it looked like from the video that they played that it doesn't work on their butt. So sorry, but you cannot make Saren any thicker.
Aww.
Or Nyx. Nyx is thick enough.
I would love to see like a nice thick Moa booty.
I would I would do it to Ash. Give him give him a nice little bubble butt.
The last thing that they really like hit hard on is one of the things I'm most excited for, which has been my complaint since we started playing back on PlayStation and when we came back to the game on computer on PC, is the UI, and they are remastering it, and they've been showing us stuff between like how it's gonna look and how you can customize it with different colorings and stuff, and I am just over the moon with this. And what they showed on the dev stream, at least this last week, was they showed the seamless transition between mouse and controller. Now, personally, I'm not one to use a controller. I'm really bad with controller. I can't aim, and bullet jumping scares me with a controller. So, but for those that do, maybe they sit down, or you're playing on a laptop, so controller is easier versus mouse keyboard. It looks like you're going to be able to seamlessly transfer for it. But do we have any idea of a release date yet?
I mean the internet has said that one of the devs tweeted out that they thought maybe mid-May for that. But then there's also been tweets, and I don't have links for these. Honestly, this is like Reddit, so take everything with a grain of salt, of course. But there was also people on Reddit stating that one of the devs had tweeted out that the UI remaster was going to drop along with the Sacrifice quest. So on one hand, maybe the Sacrifice comes out in like 2 weeks. But on the other hand, and what I would probably say is more likely is we're looking at around TennoCon for any of this. Um, but grain of salt and all that
Yeah.
because it's just Reddit.
Yeah, sadly we don't have there's looks like there's no set release date. We can hope, and I'm super excited when it comes out. Like I said, that's going to be such a quality of life adjustment. No more scrolling sideways. It's going to scroll up and down on everything, which is great. Um, Next, if you haven't heard about this, which I didn't know about this until I saw this post go up about the TennoTunes contest. So, if DE needed another reason to prove that they are awesome people, they actually are running a volume 3. So this is the third time they've run this contest. And what it is it is a music contest. There's a bunch of rules up on the website for it. So definitely if you're really interested in this, go make sure you fill out and follow all the rules. But essentially what you'll do is you create a Warframe themed song, beat, or jingle, and then you submit it to the official contest forum thread for judging. They've got a bunch of prizes. First place looks like you get the current Warframe Prime Access Pack, and you get featured weekly on their streams. And it goes to second all the way to 10th with varying levels of plat and getting featured on their streams as well. So it just started, and it looks like it actually ends on May 31st at 1 p.m. Eastern. So we need to check that out. So definitely pop in on that if you're into music. I am not very music oriented, at least with making music and making sick beats, but if you are, I highly recommend it because I really want to hear what people have because I'm super excited. And lastly, it looks like as of May 2nd, there was a huge drop of Tennogen stuff into the store. So if you are attached on Steam, which I am because I love looking at the Tennogen stuff, it looks like we had a bunch of Warframe skins come in. So it looks like Chroma got a couple, and he finally got a Grax skin by Faven. Faven, if you're listening, you have some hands down the best skins ever, and I'm really glad that Chroma got a Grax skin because they are awesome. Looks like Loki and Mag both also got skins. Mesa, Nyx, Rhino, and Volt. So those are all the ones that got Warframe skins. You can check these out in-game if you are attached and launching through Steam. Or you can also check them out online. There are links to every single one of them. And it looks like Gara also got an alt helmet, which is actually really pretty. I kind of like it. The more I look at it, the more I'm interested in it because of the way the glass is and stuff like that. It's just really pretty. Although our favorite here in this household is the Sandanas. Did you find any that you liked that dropped, Jeremy?
Um, Honestly, I don't think there's a bad one in this round. Um, Personally, I tend to gravitate away towards the full-on capes, and I know there was one of those, but for what it is, it looks amazing. It just covers up a lot of the frame for me.
Like
So
the butt.
come on now.
Sorry.
But I definitely have a very strong appreciation for the off the shoulders, that usually the ones that come into two streams, and there were 4 of those this time around. So I want all 4 of those. Like hands down, I definitely want those 4.
Yeah, the people that create these are absolutely amazing. They're amazing artists and they're great designs. And I really love that DE does this because it really does showcase such a great community here. And I really want to get the one that looks like a shark fin a little bit, like the 2-pronged shark fin, because I just want to run around and sing the Jaws theme while I'm running around and attack stuff.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I think it would be great. And lastly, on that Tennogen, there was a weapon skin that went in. It's a polearm skin, and it does have a note underneath it that it was submitted as a staff skin, but they actually modified it to be a polearm, so it kind of aligns with the Tennogen program. It is absolutely gorgeous. If I used pole arms, I probably would get this. It reminds me of something from like almost Final Fantasy ish in
Hmm.
how it looks. Like, it's gorgeous.
I love it.
Yeah. So if you're into Tennogen, if you want to see what the community's doing, or maybe if you don't have it on Steam and you downloaded it direct from the website, but you're like, wait, what's this Tennogen stuff? Definitely take a look at it, re-download the client through Steam, and pick some of these up. It helps the artists and it helps the game, and they're gorgeous and they're really fun, and they're really nice. There's so much nice stuff I can say about these because I don't think I've seen a bad Tennogen skin yet. They're just gorgeous. Alrighty, now it is time for our great discussion. So I know in this household at least, we have had a very like as we've collected warframes throughout us playing, we got into a really good discussion about main frames versus frames for specific missions. So what that means is you have like you either have a couple frames that you play no matter the mission. So they go to your defense, your spy, your intercept, your, all of the different missions that you can do, the hijacks and stuff like that. Or if you set up certain frames to run certain stuff. So, like, this is my spy frame to run spy missions, and this is my defense and survival frame, and this is my frame for hijacks. So, I'm going to throw it over to Jeremy first to kind of get and see where he sits on this spectrum of main frame versus frames for missions.
So, actually, I kind of showed my hand earlier when we were talking about what I've been up to lately, but it amuses me. I am an altaholic in every other game we play, in ESO or in Warcraft or all the MMOs that we've played before. I have every class, and I tend to play the starting zones over and over and over because like I see one little skill and I'm like, ooh, now I need that class because that skill is prettier than any of the skills I have. And I find it kind of interesting. Like I'm leveling every frame, but I find myself like when an alert pops or something, I keep gravitating towards either Saren or Valkyr. And occasionally Ash, but I've kind of toned down even on him as much as I enjoy playing him. Uh, just because the the way the game's set up, I feel like, you got to put a potato and maybe a tomato in something, and then you start formatting, and the weapons add so much to your loadout that the frames themselves, I feel like they need to be worked on a little bit, and you need to spend a lot of time with them so that you know exactly when to hit what buttons and when to be focusing on your skills versus your guns, and when not to be casting spore on everything because no one has their void relics yet, and when to start casting spore on everything so that you clear an entire map by yourself and everyone else is bored. So
Yeah.
uh, I feel like there's such a learning curve to some of these frames that I've actually kind of switched my stance to be more of like I'm either playing Saren or Valkyr unless I'm just MR grinding and just trying to get to 30 with a particular new frame.
Yeah. I I feel like I go back and forth on this. Like, at least recently, I've just been playing Mirage for a lot of stuff, and I haven't gotten to the point where I'm formaing yet, but I've usually just been playing Mirage, or on some cases I might play Octavia or Ivara, and it just seems like I really like those frames. I like how they play. I think they're really fun, but I can definitely tell sometimes I'm out of like my water, like when we're doing defense missions. I can be like defensy, but my play style that I like to play as, it just seems kind of hard, to meld the Mirage playstyle with this, or the Ivara playstyle with defense, because I like running Ivara with Dread because I like the stealthy aspect of it. So for me, what I've actually really been doing is kind of somewhat separating the frames that I like. So I have like main frames. I have like 3 or 4 that I play the most, but I kind of have been rotating on like what exactly we're doing. So like for intercept missions, for example, more times than not, I'll take either Mirage or Frost over like Ivara or Octavia. But if we're running like a quick capture mission, I can run Octavia if I'm in like public groups because I know we're just gonna try to like blitzkrieg it, like if we're doing relics and stuff. Or I'll run Mirage. If I'm doing a spy mission, nine times out of 10, I'm only taking Ivara. Like, no matter what, she's the one I take because she's got the stealth, and I'm not that sneaky without the stealth, so I kind of need it. So for me, I don't know. It's that weird in between of like, I know I need to start formatting, I know I need to start making it better, but it's just, I can't pick one. I like them all. It's like Pokemon. I have to catch them all.
Yeah, and that definitely speaks volumes for the way the game, like the way these frames are built is I've played two frames out of the I think 36, 35. I don't remember offhand exactly, but I know they're in the 30s, but I think I've played two that I probably will not play again, and that would be Chroma and Limbo. There's nothing wrong with them. They just did not mesh with my play style at all. But just about every other frame, like I can see a moment that, I would pick up Neza again, even though I'm not playing Neza hardly at all after I got him to 30. The same with Nova or um, I'm trying to think of some that I haven't played recently. But
Banshee.
Banshee, yeah, I haven't played a lot of Banshee lately, even though she was like the one of the first primes I got, or Necros. Necros I thought was terribly boring, and then I gave him another shot in a situation that he sort of lended his skills to a little better. It was I gotten the despoil upgrade, and I went and did a survival mission for like 45 minutes with my brother, and I was like, oh, okay, I see why Necros is good. So I definitely, like I said, I think it speaks volumes to the design of these characters because they've just they all have their place, and they're all really fun to play.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so hard, I think, to pick. Now, I believe like once we get started doing like sorties and a lot of the more higher level stuff, knowing your frame is going to be really important. Knowing what skills to use, when to use them, what to do, and stuff like that. Like, I feel like that might take a little bit more skill, I guess, with knowing how your frame reacts to it and like what weaknesses are. Is it really good to have blind here, or is it really good to do this? But what I've noticed, like as we've looked on Reddit and as I've looked at discussion boards and stuff like that, as I've done research on these frames and YouTube videos from content creators and people just giving their opinion, there are really no bad frame choices. There are some that are not optimal, but you still see people running all of the frames in all of the content. If you ask somebody, what's the best frame to run for sorties, you're going to get like at least 15 different answers. At least. And I love that. But it also makes it really hard to pick one.
And what I think is so funny about that is you'll see like someone will say, "Hey, I'm having trouble with X, and I want to know who to take." And you'll see one guy that says, "Well, your problem is that you're taking Oberon." And then someone will reply to that comment saying, "I take Oberon for this all the time." And then someone else will say, "I never play Oberon for anything because he's garbage." And then another person will say, "Oberon's my main. He's like the only frame I take into anything that's not stealth," or something like that. It's just so cool that like you said, like there's one person, like I don't play Limbo, and I could not in good conscience say, "Hey, you need to take Limbo into this mission." But I know there are people out there that just are crazy about Limbo and they love his kit and how he works, or they're trolls, but we'll get
Yeah,
to those
that's fair.
people another day.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's just really cool to me that the community has decided, like as a whole, they have not decided like these frames are good and these frames are bad. Even though one person may have an opinion on who's good and bad, another will say, potentially the exact opposite answer. And
Yeah.
I have noticed some like there does seem to be this mindset that like there is a meta, and of course there's a meta. It's an online game, um, but there does seem to be this mindset that it's more important that you know your frame and like right now we'll say Volt. Volt I don't think is really part of the meta unless you're Eidolon hunting. But if you're a kick-ass Volt, then nobody's going to kick you out of the group. Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
not like Final Fantasy 14 where, when Dark Knights were in a bad spot and you joined in a group, like you got kicked. Like it didn't matter that, you were a great Dark Knight player. You still got kicked because nobody wanted Dark Knights.
Yeah,
So,
and we definitely even saw that in stuff like Guild Wars 2 back in the day when we were playing
mm,
that when it just launched. Like if you had an engineer that was a flamethrower build, you were immediately kicked. And I remember
Minion
those
Mancer,
days.
Minion Mancer Necro in structured PvP.
Oh yeah, I got so many death threats playing that build. It was great. But yeah, it's mind-boggling to me, but I also love, and I think it's really telling. I know every community has bad eggs in it. Every, you can't avoid it. Every community is going to have one person that says my way or the highway. It's just people. That's how people are. But I think it's so cool that the overwhelming population are literally like, yeah, as long as you're good, I don't care. As long as you can do your job, I don't care. As long as you know what you're doing, I don't care. So it really does let open up a lot of play. Plus, if you talk to somebody and they say 9 times out of 10, I mod my Oberon like X. Well, I mod my Oberon like Y. Like Nova is a great example. Nova has two huge builds, the slow Nova and the fast Nova. The slow Nova slows down enemies, really good for like survival missions or against infestation that are moving really fast. Fast Nova is really good if you're trying to get people all into a point at the same time. So they're really good for like Sanctuary Onslaught because you're trying to speed the enemies up to get them to you quicker. And just the fact that the same frame has two different builds that are both completely viable, I just think that makes this so much harder to like nail down frames. Because not only then you're looking at like a bunch of different uses for frames, like Banshee builds. You could be a really cool sneaky Banshee that's like really like deadly, or you could be the Banshee that uses her force skill and kills the entire map.
And the mind-boggling part is we're not even talking about weapons and Sentinels versus Kubro and Kavat. And there's still those components here that and mods. We're not even really talking. I mean, I guess kind of talking about mods, but like Valkyr is like the melee. She's the go-to for melee combat. And then like one of the things that I noticed about her when I revisited her is she's like the queen of melee combat, but she can still use the Tigris Prime. And then I fell in love. I was like, oh, so I can have my cake and eat it too. I can go full rage kitty mode and be invincible and cut a whole map to pieces. And then when I run out of energy, then I can cut a whole map to pieces from a distance with the Tigris. And it's like, okay, this game's amazing.
Yeah, like Jeremy said, we haven't touched on a lot of like the other components, and any frame can equip any weapon, and really any mod as long as it matches whatever slot you're trying to put it in, like it's a pistol or a rifle or fists and stuff like that. Plus, there's the stance mods, like
Mhm.
and your aura mods on the frames, and there's different ones of those. And I mean, there's ones that people like always go to, but you could break out and try something else. Like there's no requirement. Like it's insane. So, I guess if we had to land somewhere on this discussion here, I think for me, I'm probably going to lean more towards the specific Warframe for the specific mission. Just because there are some that I know if I went into a mission with them, I could not finish it. And I'm mainly thinking with Spy and Hijack, just because with Hijack you need so much shield that I would need somebody that was spec'd with a lot of shield to be able to handle that. And you can augment it with mods and stuff like that, but some have better base shield just innately with more mods, so they will have more shields than, a fully decked out modded one. So there are stuff like that. And then I know like defense and survival missions, I have specific frames in mind when we're playing and he says we're doing a survival. I have a frame that I want to take. It's not like, well, let me take whatever frame. So I think for me, I that's how I would have to align this. Is I think I'm going into the camp of a frame for the mission versus the main frames. What about you?
For now, and maybe we revisit this in 6 months, but as I'm going through the process of Forma, uh, and basically re-leveling frames, I don't want to be doing that for 5 or 6 frames at a time, trying to make sure I have one for each type of mission. So, due to the nature of Valkyr and Saren being relatively well-rounded, um, and you can always equip a bow on a frame that's not stealthy and then get that stealth aspect, uh, as long as you're good enough to not stand in cameras, which has admittedly been a weakness of mine. But
Yeah, it's always the cameras.
I would say until I've got a few frames, formatted and built the way I want them to be, I'm definitely gonna be squarely in the camp of mainframes. versus the others.
That's fair. So what do you guys think? What's your opinion? Do you guys like mainframes, or do you like to keep a frame that's specific for a certain mission? Definitely, you can tweet us on Twitter at Tenno_talk. And you can also email us in at TennoTalk@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you guys think. I think this is a really interesting topic, and I like to hear all the different opinions. So I'd definitely write us in, tweet us, let us know where you line up on this. And also, you can find us. We don't have a lot of videos up, but we will have video versions of these podcasts and maybe a couple little random stuff going up on our YouTube, which is also TennoTalk. And then you can also find us. We stream on Twitch, which is also at TennoTalk. And we stream on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So you definitely, if you want to come see us, come hang out. We love to get other people in with us. Last night we had one of our new friends, Barbecue, come in. And he's from Australia. So he was playing with us on stream, and it was a lot of fun. So I've been working through Star Chart, we've been doing relic runs, we've been doing Sanctuary Onslaught, we just do a bunch of random stuff, so definitely come hang out.
Also, those times are from 7 to 11 on Monday and Wednesday, and from 8 to midnight on Friday and Saturday.
Thank you. I forgot the times. Awesome.
I never forget a time.
Good.
I'm late all the time, but I know I'm late, so that's the difference.
That is fair. Well, until next time, stay safe, Tenno.